slavery has done a lot of damage to the psyche of the African. It's done a lot of damage to the psyche of the African. Look at all the components of Christmas. Look at Santa Claus. Our people, we like that. Santa Claus, Father Christmas. They don't call it Father Christmas anymore. I think to sound more Western, a lot of people call it Santa Claus. When I was growing up as a child in Nigeria, it was Father Christmas. But let's take it as Father Christmas. Father Christmas is a masquerade. It's a European masquerade. There is nothing like that in Scripture. There is even no Nicholas in Scripture. That name doesn't even appear in Scripture. I'll tell you what, if you see, these things, they came out of European culture. And I'll tell you the history of masquerades and how it was brought into the modern celebration of Christmas. Masquerades were used in Europe as a tool for ostracizing people who were affecting the moral fabric of society. And then they were used for celebration. So if you read The Mayor of Casterbridge, it's a book by Thomas Hardy. Now, if you read that book, you see something called the Skimity Ride. What was the Skimity Ride? They did like a masquerade, an effigy, because a man's wife was having an affair, and then the villagers found out, so they brought this masquerade to disgrace her. And you see, we have our own masquerades in African culture. We have our own masquerades. But you see, Africans are so religiously indoctrinated that they hate African masquerade. Oh, no, it's fetish. Oh, it's yucky. But then they like the white man's masquerade. Santa Claus, and you see their mouths when they call it, Santa Claus. It's just ridiculous. It's inferiority complex. They spend a lot of money. They want to go to Europe to see. The other time I did, I showed a documentary. But because, I just signed the TV contract to do a series of documentary. I've just come back from your mother's country, Romania, where I shot an episode of this documentary. In Wales, they have a masquerade. And this masquerade is called an Os, O-S-S, Os. Now, on that day, when the masquerade came out, I saw, like several black people, and they were like, oh, it was nice. Oh my God, this is so nice. It's so cool. And then if you see this Os, you can go, it's on my Instagram page. This Os, what is the difference between this Os, O-S-S, and a masquerade in Nigeria or in Africa or in Zimbabwe? No difference. I was telling people, I said, look, this Father Christmas that you guys take and this Santa Claus that you put, why do you like him and you hate your own African masquerade? And they say, oh, our own African masquerades, African masquerades, they're evil. They do incantations and then they flog people. I said, listen, I'm a researcher. I went around Nigeria researching masquerades. Masquerades are not evil. They are not fetish. What used to happen is that masquerades used to go with age grades. So when you're born, now all the children born in that year, they give them a name and they have a masquerade. So because it was a very, very macho, masculine thing. So to keep away women, they would pretend to do some kinds of incantations and then do a lot of stuff. And then it was just to keep away women, to scare away women. And then every year, they would have this, like the masquerade of this age grade. So okay, maybe this age grade, now, this is your year. What you're going to do, you're going to go around the community and then like maybe a woman or a man who has committed like a sin. In Igbo, they call it Otuara, like an abomination. The masquerade will flog them. So, for instance, now this woman, Nedu, Naija, his wife, that came out and was saying that rubbish that she gave her husband.
Absolutely.
In the olden days, this masquerade will go and flog her. They will flog the adultery out of her. That was what it was meant for. And then on festival occasions, when everybody was happy, the masquerade will come, they will dance, they will sing, they will dance. That was how, it was the same thing in Europe. Only that in Europe, okay, when they decided that, okay, well, we are going to come up with this Catholic religion, they began to bring all these pagan things into their so-called religion. And so I'll tell you what, I'm a born-again child of God. I believe in Yeshua. That is the real name of the man that people mistakenly call Jesus. I believe in him. He is the only way, the truth, and the light. No one comes to God who sits on the throne other than through Christ. But you have to understand there that what the white missionaries came and sold to us was not the faith that Christ gave us. It is a corrupted faith that came out of the Roman Empire, and the reason why they brought it is to indoctrinate us and to dominate us. I mean, a lot of people don't know this. I went and I researched this, and you're aware of this. Slave masters used to bring evangelical ministers to minister to slaves, to subdue them, and then to make them accept their slavery, to make them accept their condition, to make them not want to resist. And that's the same thing that these colonial masters did, and they brought to us. Giving us this blonde-haired, blue-eyed, so-called Jesus. That is, I don't know what that is. That could be a demon, but that is not Jesus at all. That is not Yeshua. I went to Montserrat in Spain, to the Black Madonna. And then that's the second oldest Black Madonna in the world. The oldest one is in Poland. I haven't been there. I plan to go there. But I went to the one in Montserrat. Are you aware that initially the first images of Christ and Mary in Europe were all black? That's why they call it the Black Madonna. They were dark-skinned. Also in Egypt, they were dark-skinned. So all of a sudden, they just metamorphosed this, and then they brought this blonde hair, blue-eyed Jesus, which a lot of people in Africa, black-skinned people, have accepted. And it has allowed them to accept this religious domination that makes them accept Christmas. I mean, you can just imagine in Nigeria, if they say to you, okay, the day that Shango was born, let us make it now. Let us celebrate a so-called Christian holiday on that day. You will reject it. You know how they do in Nigeria. God forbid. God forbid. Come back. God forbid. Tufiakwa. What do Yoruba say? The Yoruba version of Tufiakwa. They will be saying, but then they just go and then without accepting it. And then when you want to tell them, you see that
okay,
religious. Okay, yeah.